This isn't clickbait. I am really canceling the book of journals. Stay tuned until the end, and I will explain why. But welcome everybody to my first video of 2019. I hope you guys all had an amazing holiday and a happy New Year's, and I hope your 2019 is off to a great start. I am making this video as sort of a way to recap and look back in 2018 before we move on to the new year with some new content. Because 2018 has been kind of a interesting year for me, and I have some kind of some important announcements for 2019 that I want to cover in this video. So first off, let's get into 2018. The funny thing with these New Year's, the funny thing with these recap videos is every time I kind of look back at the previous year, I don't even remember half the stuff that I really have done towards the beginning of the year. However, a lot of the stuff that I tend to do towards the middle and the end of the year, I remember more. It could be just time, it could be the fact that maybe like on YouTube specifically, there hasn't been a whole lot of content that I've done. I'm sort of one of those vloggers who only vlogs on the special occasion. It seems that has been a pattern with me, and that it's kind of been a pattern that I've been looking to change a little bit. I kind of wanted to document and experiment with a little more stuff, which is why this year I'm going to be doing a little bit more experimenting. In fact, after this video, which I will save towards the end, I'm going to be doing a YouTube experiment. So 2018, I would say, kind of to recap this off, it started probably, the earliest thing I can remember is working on the Kill Streak movie. For those who've been curious, I have made a movie in March that I decided to release to my YouTube channel for free with some friends. It was a found footage film, and pretty much through the entire month of March, we have pretty much decided to focus on that. The movie ended up getting done, regardless of some shortcomings. We managed to get it done, and we managed to finish it, and we published it. And the next thing that kind of goes into this whole thing is in June, we hit E3. We hit E3, and that was the first time we went to E3. I'm not wearing it, but there is a red jacket that I was wearing that I got at E3. Hit the Ubisoft booths, got some cool stuff, got to play unreleased games, and that was also when the announcement of that horrendous game Fallout 76 was announced. Don't even get me fucking started on that shit. But I was at the Bethesda booth, and I actually managed to try out one of these other games called Blades, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's Elder Scrolls for the mobile phone. I entered some sort of contest. E3 was actually a pretty cool experience. I honestly would recommend that if you've never been to E3, go to E3 at least one time. They always say that, like, as the years go on, E3 is not that kind of E3 is not that interesting as terms of viewing it on TV, or that, you know, we already know exactly what's going to happen with all the spoilers and games coming out. However, going down there in person, you're going to get an entirely different experience than watching it on TV. So I recommend that if you guys haven't been to E3 at least one time, check it out. The next thing that we kind of did, obviously, that we do every single year is VidCon. Ever since 2016, we have been to VidCon. This is my third VidCon. We met up with, you know, Jesse again, all that other stuff. We have also met up with people like That Guy Vade and a bunch of other cool people. And VidCon this year was sort of one of those things where I wasn't really as excited as it was the previous year, mainly just because some of the people that I normally hang out with were not there, but it was still fun regardless. And it was different. It was different because they opened up that new building that was on the other side, which had all the creator booths. So now, shortly after VidCon, probably about a month after, I actually quit my job for YouTube. Now, I put quit my job for YouTube mostly just due to the fact that shortly after I quit my job, you might know, I didn't really post that much YouTube videos. I really didn't. So it's hard to say that I quit my job for YouTube. I just quit my job to pretty much pursue other things like freelancing, reselling, and just in general, I want to try new things. And I've been there for 3 years. I didn't want to, be there much longer. And it's weird because I want to share one thing that I've been experimenting lately is I'm still trying to get over the fact that I'm no longer working there, that I've been having dreams that I'm still actually working at the place. It is trippy as... It's trippy. I don't... It's fucking weird. Mainly just because some of the dreams are like more positive dreams of like me going back there and kind of like celebrating my newfound career with people that I've known, and then there's other times where it was like more dark and depressing, and it's just some weird shit. And then shortly after that, we actually hit Vid Summit. Vid Summit and VidCon are completely two different experiences. I would say that if you go to Vid Summit, you're gonna get a different experience at VidCon, and I thought Vid Summit was actually interesting because, first off, I got to meet Mr. Beast. I know that's like out of everything, that was probably like a good highlight, but it wasn't like the most important thing. But I got to meet Mr. Beast. We chatted for a few minutes. It was actually pretty cool. But how did I get to Vid Summit? Because I couldn't afford to go to Vid Summit. The whole premise with Vid Summit was that I actually signed up as a volunteer to go to Vid Summit through a Facebook group, and Daryl Leaves, who runs his YouTube channel and who runs a an actual company, he was looking for volunteers on this Facebook page. So he had posted on this Facebook group that he manages, saying that I'm looking for some volunteers for Vid Summit who's interested. And at the time that I submitted, I was like, if I get selected, I get selected. I wasn't really confirmed, like, at that very moment that I was going, until I got the email a couple days later that said, we want to invite all people that signed up to volunteers to Vid Summit. So then I was like, I was going for sure. I was like, okay, I'm in this spot where all I have to do is book the hotel, book the travel expenses, and I'm good to go. And it was a very interesting experience because I got to listen to Gary Vaynerchuk speak. I got to do a whole bunch of other cool things there, network. And if there's one thing I want to drive home with both VidCon and Vid Summit, because they're both different experiences. VidCon is more of a convention, while Vid Summit is more of a video marketing conference. So VidCon, you go there to probably have fun, meet your favorite creators. In Vid Summit, you're going there to more of like network and possibly work with some businesses and brands on trying to just network. But in general, I think the biggest thing you get from going to these events is the networking and meeting people. And it's not the same as watching any of the panels at home, because with Vid Summit, you could have bought a virtual pass, but the catch was that you by going there, you get the full experience, and by networking and actually meeting people, you stay connected with very important individuals. So now we come to close to the end of the year, which I have been reflecting, and I've been making sort of decisions and changes in how I want to go on this channel. And the last thing that actually happens leads into one of my announcements that I am leaving for this video, and we're gonna get into the announcements right now. So first off, shortly towards the tail end of 2018, in about November, Storyfire, if anybody is actually curious, I have actually made a couple of videos with Jesse about Storyfire, and I talked about Storyfire, but I've never actually fully gave an update with my Storyfire description. If you guys want to see more of my video series, more of my storytelling stuff, go to storyfire.com and click my user link in the description and catch some of the stuff that I do there, because I'm posting videos, I'm posting, you know, things from videos to short stories. But the idea is that Storyfire is a story, it's a storytelling app that is made for filmmakers. At the moment it's very early, but for filmmakers and writers. Right now it's mostly targeting writers, but eventually they're going to be releasing video series for people. And right now there is a select amount of video series that are available on Storyfire that you can watch. Obviously you have Jesse's My Virtual Escape. That leads into another thing I'm going to be talking about here in a minute with My Virtual Escape and how I kind of screwed up. But you have I Remain, you have something from Dame Drops, you have this other series, you have many different contents. We have probably about, Storyfire's got about maybe like right now 7 to 8 video series that you can go and watch. But my point is, one of the things you might have noticed on my channel is that the Grand Theft Auto Online Stories is no longer there. At least for the time being, is no longer there. That's because I had submitted Grand Theft Auto Online Stories as a video series to put on Storyfire. So what I did is I decided to send an email out. It was an email, no, it was a Google form. I created a Google form submitting a pitch to have Grand Theft Auto Online Stories, the Machinima, as a series. And I was honestly not expecting to get in. I'm like, okay, it's a Machinima series, that kind of thing. And out of 600 participants who posted a video series application, we got in. We first got into the top 20. And once we got into the top 20, we were supposed to publish a pilot. We were supposed to submit a pilot via email. And since I had my season already done, I decided that I was just going to submit the pilot that I had, you know, that I had put together already. So I submitted a pilot in, and out of the 20 people that got in, out of 20 people that submitted the pilot, if there was 20 people that submitted a pilot, 10 people were selected, and we were one of the 10. So we got in as a green light. GTA Online Stories has got greenlit to be on Storyfire. At the time being, I'm going to try and keep it exclusive to Storyfire because I want to grow a following on there. So if you guys are interested in checking out, in fact, what I'm doing with this series is kind of rebooting and rewriting a lot of the elements of that I had to change to have it approved for Storyfire. But once again, check out the link in the description for the Storyfire updates, and you can see all you can see what I've been posting on there. Anyway, the other announcement was I'm going to be vlogging more. We're going to be vlogging a little bit more often. And in fact, that leads into the experiment that I'm going to be running shortly after this video is posted. I'm not going to exactly say what the experiment is, but I will hint out the fact that some of the content you might be seeing is going to be a little bit familiar. And that gets into the topic of I titled this video. Why am I canceling the Book of Journals series? Out of all this time, after this month, I've been reflecting, and I've been looking at the series as a whole, and I was like thinking, this shit doesn't make any fucking sense. This series doesn't make any fucking sense. Now, some of you guys might be able to make sense out of it, but as somebody who inspires from other creators, such as people like, you know, McJuggernuggets, Boogie298, all these other content creators, I think the one lesson that I can bring home is to, when you're inspired, be sure that if you're using any sort of elements or some sort of concepts from other people's series don't actually use the objects or the actual contents from the series, if that makes any sense. So what ended up happening is that the series, first off, when I started the series, it never was supposed to be the Book of Journals. I didn't come up with this idea, this concept of the Book of Journals until probably like the quote-unquote second season of it. And it was one of those things where, like, I had no idea what I was doing with it. And I found myself being constantly inspired by other people's work to continue the story. So every year rolled around, and it would just be adding more weird stuff to it. Like, we added the stuff with the mirror from the devil inside, and we added a bunch of other stuff. And you can kind of start to see the problem here is that everything that I was writing in this book came from, like, inspirations, and instead of just using the concept, I actually sort of used more than what I originally wanted to use, and it just becomes a confusing mess. And since this story deals with a lot with time and parallel universes, I was like, woo, let's just jump the gun and do it anyway. So what ended up happening for me was I started implementing things from my virtual escape into it, and that was one of the last few episodes that you guys have actually seen. Is my character goes inside, he goes inside, like, I've been already taking things with the snapping and in the mirror and all that. I guess you could say I'm low-key, I guess this is sort of me low-keying a myth that I'm taking ideas and or reusing concepts from other things, which I think is fine. If you're using I think it's completely okay to create fan fiction and create work using other people's concepts. Like, we see it all the time, you know, people create their own stories out of Star Wars, and people would just create their own stories out of nowhere. But with this one, I feel like I sort of made a bit of a mistake by going down the rabbit hole of us getting into my virtual escape with this series. So I'm like, how do I fix it? And there's two things that I had options to. I was thinking, okay, I can just, you know, try and write myself out of this hole, and, you know, but then again, it doesn't change anything that I did in the past, or cancel it. And then I thought about, well, I can cancel it, but what if I just cancel it the way that we know it? What if I just cancel the series but continue my original concept of the book? So what that means is the series as you know it is canceled. And quote, as you know it, meaning the Book of Journals series will be done with, but the concept might be used in the future, you know, with the whole book. Because I love the concept. I love the idea of this, you know, having this book tell a story, and the creator of the book is able to reconstruct the story and rechange things. It sort of kind of takes me back to those, you know, those choose your own adventure books where you can kind of rewrite things, and that was kind of the concept. And I was watching the latest episode of Black Mirror Bandersnatch, and I'm like, that's a cool episode. And I'm not saying that I don't think any idea out there is like 100% original. Everything sort of just takes, you know, it's sort of, what's the word that I'm looking for? It takes inspiration from other things, and I do have a feeling like we kind of live in this like creative consciousness type thing, where all of the ideas that we have are, you know, very much similar in many different ways. But I feel like when we create our own stories, we have to be careful not to use too much of the elements that we are inspired from. Otherwise, we find ourselves doing everything similar, everything exactly the same as the result of whatever we're looking to inspire from. So we only need to take a little bit. And that is why I'm canceling the Book of Journals series. I know I've rambled on for about close to 20 minutes. I'm not going to cut this video up because I thought about it. I'm like, I've already tried doing this video multiple times, and I personally don't really care enough to re-record it. It's literally been 20 minutes. And that gets me down to a conversation that I had with a friend of mine recently, and we're gonna call this year the year of fuck it. The year of fuck it and let's go. And if you think about why I'm calling it this year, it's the idea of not giving a shit about what anybody else thinks about, a particular idea, not giving a shit about anybody else's opinion. Fuck everyone else's opinion and just fuck it and go. Don't waste your time, over conceptualizing ideas. Like, it's okay to have a little bit of a plan, but you're gonna figure out the plan as you go. And I know that might sound kind of contradictory to the story, but yeah, this is gonna be the year of fuck it. And you're gonna be seeing a lot of familiar faces in the upcoming videos. I'm going to be working with some really cool people. I've already got some content laid out with that guy Vade, and things are going to be great this year. So I'm running an experiment for the first month of this year, and it's an experiment that I'm doing something interesting, and I think you guys, well, you'll notice things are going to be a little bit similar. I'm not gonna say exactly, but you'll find out. You'll find out what the experiment is. It's nothing like that big of a major idea, but you'll find out. Anyway, if you guys have stuck through this long 20-something minute video, thank you very much. Consider subscribing to the channel. There's just going to be more coming to 2019. I really just want to start, actually getting content out there on my YouTube page, my Instagram feed, as it terms when it comes to storytelling and all the series. The biggest one I have right now is GTA Online Stories, which I have plans to get this entire thing done at the end of the year. Check Storyfire out in the description. Check out all my social media. And I think I'm going to end the video here. So thank you guys for staying this long towards the video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful 2019, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Goodbye.